Now arrives the hour of action.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
To subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.
What's up, everybody? Hold on, I'm still inviting some people. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'm actually feeling a little sick. Do I look sick? So somebody had already called in. I think maybe it was Crystal who keeps calling the show. I guess she's going to be a staple on the Marchus Live and Wheel of Judiciary. Feel free to call back, Crystal. I don't mind. I'm easy that way. But, let's see. Here's the weird thing about... Alright, so I'm broadcasting... Now arrives the hour of action. I do miss the rest of the sound bites I used to have. I've got them all still, if anything changes in the future. But let's see, Jeffrey, if you'd call in, or Brian Kinter, you've never played the game. You know this stuff. Brian, I'd love it if you'd call in, and then I'd have to send you one of these shirts here. You know, right over there. My finger will disappear right about. Oh no. So yeah, I'm broadcasting from my profile again. Facebook keeps changing things, and this was kind of an experiment because when I press go live, when I get everything fired up and press go live, it says something wrong happened, but it comes up. I mean, we're streaming. It says I'm not streaming on the computer, but on the phone I obviously am. So I don't know what's going on. I thought I'd just let it be. Make sure the volumes are good here. Yeah, I'm a little low. I thought I'd let it be and test it out. So last week I did the same thing. I thought it wasn't streaming, so I went and I broadcast from the page, which I should be doing anyways. But Wheel of Judiciary is kind of more fun. You know, it's just my interpretation of the show. Now, the shows, since I have permission from Kirk to take clips from his show, Jade, Bud, and Jesse to take clips from their show, Far From Normal. So it makes my life a little bit easier, and I can focus on actual laws or things that are relevant instead of like trying to find 6 or 7 questions with the tiebreaker, all from my show. You start getting really personal. And if you're seeing this live for the first time, again, this is the way I'm going to keep the show, the kind of original way, instead of trying to make it not live. This is a lot more fun, as long as people call in. Let's see. So what day is it? It is Judiciary Day! Woo! Yeah, I think I'm getting sick. Hello. I need to play. Go, Brian. Lori, please call in. Please, for the love of God. Otherwise, I'll sit here by myself. Which is fine. I do that all the time. I'm pretty used to it. Alright. Who is this? 0347. Who are we speaking with, please? 0347. Hello, you are on... Judiciary! Alright. I'm guessing... Is this Crystal?
Yes.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I just got back from the trip today. I've been gone since Thursday.
Oh. You got back from
a trip? What did you say?
I said, so you got back from a trip then?
Yes, we just got back.
Nice.
A few hours ago. Yeah, I'm like, I am very tired.
Me too.
I told my buddy I'm gonna go in tonight. Oh, you're not gonna go in tonight. My buddy was like, yeah, let's go in tonight.
Yeah, call in tonight. Everybody, call in tonight. The way this is set up, we can play with 1 participant, or we can play the traditional way with 2, or we can play with multiple participants. And if we get multiple people, then I'll explain the rules. So I just recently put a poll on the Marches group, kind of asking people what time they would prefer to watch and play. Hey, Anita, please call in again. And so one of the options is doesn't matter. I'll listen anytime. And then one option is 10, then 9, 8, then down to 5, and then down to 3 Eastern time. Or the last option is I hate you and your show I'll never watch. Which, I could completely understand. So there's some folks watching. If you guys want to call in the number, it's super easy. There it is. 408-638-0986. It'll prompt you to type in the meeting ID, which is 307-616-914. And then we can play the game. And if you win this shirt, this Marches live shirt, which also has Million Para March 2017 on the opposite side. So there's a few of those left. I still have to send 2 out. 1 to Bud, 1 to Sarah from way long ago, and then I owe somebody else a shirt. Zachariah Hoffer, I owe a shirt to. That was all in the weird transition time, and I thought I'd see them at the event, but I didn't see either of those 2. Randall sent an attachment. All right, Randall, what's going on? Truth about ADD. I'll watch that later. In the meantime, Mr. Stone, if you would call the show and play Wheel of Judiciary. Lori L. Nickerson, try not to fall asleep. Please call in, Lori. Oh, you're trying. I wonder what's going on. Sometimes people have a hard time connecting. That's a real huge bummer for me. Because it happens to Chris Hallett all the time. So another way to do it is to download the program Zoom, and then you simply click Join Meeting, and then put in the meeting ID, and you can come on camera if you want. We'd have to. All right, let me just mute Crystal for now. There's a sound that I noticed on the Marches Live on Wednesday that, Shane and I both were like, what the heck is that? David McNeil, please call in, play Wheel of Judiciary. Felicia, Adam, Jesse, there's somebody. 2532, you are on. Hold on.
Neil, please call in, play Wheel of Judiciary. Felicia.
Hi, it's Roy.
Hey, how's it going? You might want to, we can hear the show in the background, so if you've got earbuds, or if you can turn it down. But thank you for joining. Oh, we lost him. Whoever that was. Judiciary! You might want to put in your earbuds so we don't hear an echo over and over. There is, obviously, when you're streaming or broadcasting, there's a delay. Sometimes as low as 5 seconds, sometimes as much as 20 plus seconds. All right. So what can I talk about until we have another participant call in? Jay, if you want to play. Brian, Kenter, for crying out loud, just call the show and play the game. Stop giving me a hard time already. So let's see. We could go right into question 1. I don't really want to yet. So let's just put on some really loud. Turn that down a bit. 2532. Hello, 2532. Thanks for calling Wheel of Judiciary. Who are we speaking with, please?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Would you like to stay anonymous, or I could just
I'll do that.
Okay, Pennsylvania it is. Thank you for calling. So you will be our first participant. So let's get right into the show. Do you know how to play?
Yeah, I'll do that.
So what I have is a video question. You'll be able to hear it either way. I can play it as many times as you want, and then I'll give you multiple choice, and you pick one of those 4. And if you win the Marches shirt. Are you ready to play?
Yes. Let's
Judiciary! All right. Here we go. Player 1, question 1.
It's a beautiful thing to know the law. That's all I can say, is because if you don't, you're just going to get battered.
When you know what your rights are, you automatically know, and you have a response. When someone's doing something wrong, say, hey, this is wrong. This is what the law says. No, you better stop doing what you're doing right now, or I'm going to place you under arrest.
These guys that are blocking the freeway, standing in the middle of the road, that's an arrestable offense. You don't have to wait for the police to come. They're blocking the freeways. Grab those guys and detain them. Put them under arrest, then call law enforcement to take them away. 18-241-242.
Now, in general, I'd be very careful about making citizens arrests just on a personal safety level. But I'll get into different areas of this. But in general, you as a citizen could only make a citizen's arrest if the crime is a what? A, felony, B, misdemeanor, C, violation or infraction, D, any of the three types of crimes.
Oh, wow, Ted. I'm going to have to say it would have to be a felony.
You are correct, Pennsylvania. Let's go to, and that is, if you don't know, that's Law for Dummies, Kirk's Law Corner, with Kirk Pendergrass, obviously. So let's go to his answer.
Yeah, it has to be a felony. So in order to make an arrest without a warrant, it has to be a felony or a breach of the peace. Even just the slightest bit of deprivation of your right to liberty is wrong. It's a tort. You can file under Title 42, 1983 for civil rights violations. That's automatically like a $10,000 suit. Just for telling you to stop and having no lawful authority to even tell you to stop. That's $10,000 right there. It's a deprivation of your right of liberty.
So in editing these, I wanted to make sure I put in both halves of this. I don't know why I'm getting some.
So that means Ted. That means anybody could just go out and stop any infraction that they see in their head. I mean, so yeah, seriously, it's got to be a felony.
Yeah, and the only exception to that is breach of peace. But I'll tell you what you need to be careful of, because if you violate somebody's civil rights, you are liable. So citizens' arrests are subject to fewer constitutional requirements than an arrest by law enforcement officers, but citizens' arrests still have rules that govern them. Failure to abide by these rules can result in civil and criminal liability for the arresting individual. Felonies. A person can arrest someone that...
Well, thank you for that education.
You're welcome. I'll tell you. I'll go on. I mean...
Are you going? Are you doing anything next weekend?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you are.
Yeah. I'll do this. I put a poll.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Well, you have 2 more questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Do you have time? All right.
I have 6 giddy girls in my house. Okay, so.
All right, we'll get through.
I knew you were bored, and I thought, well, why not call in?
I appreciate it. Well, let's go right on to your next question then. We'll make this as fast as possible, and I won't go through all the answer stuff. I'll go back. Player 1, question 2.
Yeah, so with Russian adoption thing, okay, that's how I stumbled across this. What happened was, you remember when it came out that Trump was meeting with those Russians, and they says, well, the cover story was that first they were talking about the Russian adoptions. What happened was there was this company, and the people involved with the company that were clicking on and liking those weird pictures for Alefantis on his Instagram, all that weird stuff he had going on. And what would an adoption agency be doing associating with this kind of material? It was just very bizarre. So I started looking into them. And looking into them, I found out that they were involved in a case where this woman was going to give up her baby for adoption. They had paid for some hospital fees. But at the last minute, when the baby was born, she changed her mind. She wanted to keep her own baby. And this company actually ambushed her down in the parking lot of the hospital and took the baby out of her arms. To this day, she still does not know where that baby is.
It's pretty incredible. So what is the name of the adoption agency that Mr. Opperman is talking about? A, American Adoption Agency. B, Angel Adoption, Inc. C, A Forever Home, Inc. Or D, Russian Adoption Alliance, Incorporated.
Wow. I heard the story, and I'm going to say Angel Adoption.
You are correct, Pennsylvania. Let's go to the answer.
What happened was there was this company, this Angel Adoption Agency, And the people involved with the Angel Adoption Agency took the baby out of her arms. To this day, she still does not know where that baby is.
It's crazy. So all I could find out about Angel Adoption Agency within a reasonable time to do the show is that they are not an adoption agency. They are known as a facilitator. They generally cost more money because they can then work through, because they then have to work through an agency. But you, as the adoptee or adoptor, the person making the adoption, you can be more specific in what you want in a foster child, you know, order specific. The reviews easily found on Google warned birth mothers not to use these facilities. So you are correct. Let's move right on to your third question, Pennsylvania. Player 1, question 3.
Currently reside in Minnesota. I've lived here 4 years with my family, and I was never married, but I have 2 biological daughters. We traveled every year to New York to visit our family back east, and she decided to not come back with my kids. And
so, what are Abe's options? That is Abe who called in. He's saying the mother, they live together, they're not married. She moved back home to New York from Minnesota with his daughters, and he's wondering what to do. So, what are his options? A, move to New York. B, ask law enforcement to issue an Amber Alert. C, ask the court for emergency temporary custody. D, all of the above.
All the above.
He can certainly ask. The Amber Alert probably wouldn't happen, but I could go through... where is my display capture? I don't know why. But anyways, there's looking...
But they're considered missing, and he is the father.
Right.
They're considered missing.
Right. So what happened is, like, for, you know, her moving, the thing is that he was in their life supporting them. So really the fact that
he is still their father.
Yeah. So it's against state statute, which requires mom to give dad 30 days notice before relocating, whether they're married or not. Because as long as his name is on the birth certificate, paternity isn't an issue, and he's been in these child's lives, she better hightail it back to Minnesota, actually. Because, Abe, if you're listening, you could get emergency temporary custody right off the bat. Or, you know, you could move to New York or back to New York. I know you have a good life in Minnesota, but you were originally from New York. He was supposed to reach out to Shane and I.
Keep fighting, Dad. Keep fighting, Dad. Don't give up.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure where he is.
Well, Abe, if you're listening, keep fighting. Don't you dare give up.
Yep, Abe, I hope you catch this this show. I felt like I should have had more information for you right off the bat. But I found...
we've got many cases like that. We have a case here like that, and mom took off despite a court order. Oh, wow. We located the child. We located the mother down in Tennessee without saying any names. The case has been moved. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. And there's many, many, many parents going through this. So
yeah,
Abe is not alone.
There is a website I found, Expert Law. It's just go to www.expertlaw.com and put in mom moved out of state with child not married. And you'll find this thread I found. I was going to share that, but I you know.
Share that again, please, so everybody hears you, Ted.
Expertlaw.com. Just type in mom moved out of state with child not married, and you'll see this thread and everything that Pennsylvania and I just talked about is all in here. And you know, they're all saying like this is going to backfire on mom big time. Is basically to sum it up in one sentence.
Well, there's even more cases. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're married or you're divorced or just live-in boyfriend girlfriend type situation. It doesn't matter. There's people that have shared custody agreements that aren't being followed, and their kids are missing. So, let that be a feather in your cap. But we continue to all fight, and we can't stop. We're not going to stop.
Not until we end it. Thank you very much for your time.
There is hold these judges accountable, the family courts accountable, and all these money racketeers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is it's all civil right claims, all tort claims, and it doesn't matter whether it's been intentional or through neglect. That means all the way down to the lady working at the desk at the clerk of court office is liable for this. So.
Oh yeah, or ones that are fudging court orders and fudging court papers. Yeah, we got one of those too. So.
And that's intentional.
Yep, we'll take care of it one by one. Yeah. We will. We're not stopping.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Well, if you could send me a PM, so I know who you are exactly.
I already did, Ted.
Oh, okay.
I already did, Ted. I did earlier.
Okay. Give me your address so I can send you the shirt. I'll send it out Monday morning.
I'll see you next weekend.
Great. Thanha you, Pennsylvania. I appreciate
You're welcome, Ted. Have a great night.
There is a tiebreaker question if you want to just listen. Oh, you're welcome. If you want to just listen, and if we get another person to call in,
plan on it.
And if they get all three right, then you'll have to chime back in and answer the tiebreaker question. But nobody else is called, so my default player is probably going to be Crystal, because she's the last three shows she calls in and listens. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Have a great night. All right,
you
guys.
Too, sir. Bye.
Josh Tuttle, call in, please. Josh has been one of the biggest supporters of specifically Wheel of Judiciary. He used to provide TFRM pens. I know that gets expensive over time. So, Josh, if you'd call in so I can personally thank you for everything that you've done. I know I've thanked you 100 other times, but otherwise, Crystal, are you ready to play if nobody else calls in? Because you are, even though you played last week, you're welcome to play again if we don't get another participant. Otherwise, it'll be a default to Pennsylvania. So usually the way I play, if I know there's only going to be one participant, is I'll go through every question, and as long as she got 4 out of the 7 correct, boom, you're good to go. There's 3 questions each and one tiebreaker, the 7th. So I'm just going to give it a second. I'm cooking dinner. Sorry, brother, I still have pens. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Josh. Brian Kinter. Call in the show. Mark Ludwig was watching. Please call in the show, Mark. You know this stuff. Josh has the second place. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Josh, you kick ass, bro. All right. If you come in second place, you will receive a TFRM pen courtesy of Mr. Josh Tuttle. You rock, Josh. Oops. I love you, bro. All right. Yeah, I look sick. I look sick to me, so I must look sick to you guys. I'm feeling down. Down. Let's go back over here. So, who's going to call in and play? Judiciary Day. That's what today is. The new Wheel of Judiciary Day. Wheel of Judiciary used to be on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Then doing video questions, I bumped it to Thursday at one point, but that just wasn't enough time. And then had them on Fridays sometimes, but that isn't even enough time because it takes literally 8 to 10 hours to put one of these together. Go through the different shows, find questions, then actually create questions and answers out of those video clips. It's not easy, and I end up doing a ton of research. While we're waiting, maybe I can let's do this. We can go through some of these things. Let's see, where was that? I think I may... Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where is... I'm gonna do this. Studio mode. Player 2. Player 1. Answer. So yeah, here we go.
If you have a marriage contract, a civil contract, similar to a prenup that says children are 50-50 right in the beginning, in Abe's situation, there is no contract between or no license. There's nothing that binds these two people together besides the children, and without some kind of a contract that protects the child's interest to both parents, the court system is at a loss.
Yeah, so that was the video answer. And I mentioned, yeah, we can go into this a little bit further. So I mentioned last week on Wednesday that this generally happens to fathers, not mothers as much, because the paternity of the mom is never challenged, obviously. So let me go... So this is a little bit dated, 2015, but it's from the New York Times. So it's a decent article because she's not saying anybody's bad. It's just saying what she found out. So her name is Claire Huntington. And the fathers' rights movement contends that the treatment of fathers and mothers is unequal under the law. But the real difference is between married and unmarried fathers. That really is true. My research shows that family law makes it much harder for unmarried fathers to sustain a relationship with their children. In most states, if a child is born to married parents, the mother's husband is automatically established as the legal father. By contrast, unmarried fathers have to take additional steps to establish parentage. Further, the custody of a child born to unmarried parents who are living together is not an issue, but half of unmarried fathers do not live with their children at birth. Often these fathers must go to court to establish custody, but most simply cannot afford to. Absent a custody order, mothers decide whether fathers can see their children when they're not married. Or before they go to court even. Some mothers keep fathers away for understandable reasons such as domestic violence, but other mothers keep fathers away for less sympathetic reasons, such as wanting to protect a relationship with a new boyfriend. Imperfect as they may be, this is imperfect as they may be, courts do help divorcing couples establish co-parenting expectations, but unmarried couples do not need the court to end their relationship, and without clearly established rights and responsibilities, everything becomes a fight. Finally, child support laws are a real problem for unmarried fathers. Due to low rates of educational attainment and high rates of incarceration, many unmarried fathers are unable to support their children economically. And that's a good point, economically. They could support them if they were in their home. I mean, it wouldn't be like 5-star meals, but I'm sure for the most part, fathers want to be in their child's life just as much as mothers do. And yet, child support laws often impose unrealistic obligations that can accrue even when the father is in prison. The situation is a double bind for the The situation is a double bind for both the mothers who resent the inability of fathers to pay what the law leads them to expect, and the fathers who resent the mounting debt. And it goes on to mention feminists and members of the fathers' rights movement alike should focus on the legal and societal inequalities faced by unmarried fathers in order to help all families. And really that closing statement is why I wanted to share this article with you guys. And sorry, I haven't been scrolling. I've just been reading. And then here is that other one. Still waiting on somebody to call in. And this is that thread I found. expertlaw.com. And so this one just says, my wife of 1 month and her 5-year-old daughter moved with me to Michigan. That's where Abe is. But from Virginia 1 month ago. The father is on the birth certificate. Father was never married to my wife. Custody or visitation has never been established legally or verbally. Father did visit with child periodically, but never provided support or sought custody. So some of these responses, custody or visitation has not been established legally or verbally. It's about to be. Yes, your wife needs an attorney. Father did visit with child periodically, but never provided support or sought custody. If mom never sought support, that's not going to count against a father who is now seeking to exercise his rights. And it goes on and on and on and on and on to, yeah, there's right there. Can you see it? Yeah. When will this backfire on mom? Question mark. At final trial or swiftly at first hearing? Well, yeah, and yeah, he'll get emergency custody of the children, and that's exactly what Abe should do in his situation. That, I mean, that isn't. It's nothing against the mother, except she just left without any notice. And that just is, no matter what, that's wrong. All right? He doesn't deserve that. Mom shouldn't have done that. They should have had a conversation. But who knows the details? Maybe there's something we don't know going on. So let's go back here. Still waiting on somebody to call in. I need to check one thing out. I can bring this back over here so it doesn't look like I'm leaning way over out of the screen. Studio mode. And then, yeah, there's the other one right there. Alright, that's what I needed right there. And that's the address I needed right there for another question. Control C. Okay. And then I can Control V. Boom. And now I'm ready for that question if anybody calls in. Alright. Crystal, are you still with us? Crystal, yeah? All right. Do you feel like playing Wheel of Judiciary?
Yes.
Someone call into the show, please. Thank you for writing that, Crystal. Laura, do you want to play? Crystal played last week, and she'd be happy to just listen. But as a backup participant, Crystal will play unless Laura Thompson calls in. Oh, you messaged Brian, Lori. Thank you. All right. Well, we're gonna continue with Crystal. Are you ready for your first question, Crystal?
Yes.
All right. Let's get right into it. Player 2, question 1.
241 through 248 are the criminal ones. And if it involves kidnapping, you can coming onto somebody's property, kicking in their door, taking their kids. That is kidnapping. You don't have a warrant.
So, obviously that was Kirk Pendergrass again. And so what is the maximum punishment for kidnapping? A, $100,000 fine. B, 20 years in jail. C, life in prison. D, lose your life. What do you think, Crystal? Let me start the music. $1,000 fine, 20 years in jail, life in prison, or the death penalty, basically.
Life in jail.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right, let's see what Kirk says. Kirk, what do you says?
And if it involves kidnapping, you can seek the death penalty.
Wow.
Coming onto somebody's property, kicking in their door, taking their kids, that is kidnapping. You don't have a warrant. You know, that this case involves kidnapping, that we can seek the death penalty against you. And I'll tell you right now, that prosecutor has been shaken. And literally, you could see her shaking. I'm telling you, when you know this stuff, 18 Section 241 or 242, and I can seek the death penalty against you for violating this, this is the crime that you're committing here. When you hear that, and maybe you're on the receiving end of that, you know, when you talk death penalty, I mean, that's just how serious we are about violating civil rights.
So I'm sorry, Crystal, that was incorrect. It is the death penalty. So state statutes allowing the death penalty for non-murder crimes. One is aggravated kidnapping, Colorado, Idaho, which Kirk is in Boise. The IL, is that Illinois? I don't know. Missouri, Montana. And then treason also carries with it the death penalty in Arkansas, California, Colorado, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Washington. So Section 1902 sets forth the special circumstances that make a first-degree murder death eligible. Colorado, first-degree murder with at least one of 17 aggravating factors. First-degree kidnapping resulting in death. Treason, see Section 636, blah, blah, blah. And so kidnapping is a form of treason. I think maybe that's not describing any of that. Kirk could clear this up for me with at least one statutory aggravating circumstances. Blah, 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 blah. So, I'm sorry, Crystal, but let's continue with the questions. Player 2, question 2. Oops. What happened?
Now, is Canada completely in control of what happens within the family court system there, or is it just within Newfoundland that the government there is in control of everything?
So that was Jay Moss asking their guest, Robert Glasgow, who is in Newfoundland, whether or not Canada has legal jurisdiction over Newfoundland. So, A, yes. B, no. C, only in criminal court. D, none of the above. That's kind of...
A?
You are correct, Crystal. Let's listen to the video answer.
The one that I go to is called the Unified Family Court, and that's just for here in Newfoundland. It's not federal. Yeah, like a federal court would be like all across Canada.
So here is a little bit about Newfoundland and Labrador. If you look behind my head, you will see where it is on the map. Way up there. And so just looking at this, Newfoundland, it's interesting that it's a territory in Canada, just like Quebec or Toronto, but they're together, Newfoundland and Labrador. French, Terre Neuve et Labrador. Inuit is Akamasisis. And this is interesting, Newfoundland Irish. So there is a language there called Newfoundland Irish. And Talma and Ezik Agus Labrador is the most easterly province of Canada, situated in the country's Atlantic region. And blah, 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 with combined area, province, population. They mostly speak English. Most of them live on the Avalon Peninsula. The province is Canada's most linguistically homogeneous. That means most of them speak English, or Newfoundland English. Historically, Newfoundland was also home to unique varieties of French and Irish, as well as the extinct Beothuk language. The capital is St. John's, and obviously that has the highest population. And it is the home of the House of Assembly of Newfoundland and Labrador, and the highest court in the jurisdiction, the Newfoundland and Labrador Court of Appeal. Interesting. Let's click on that. The Supreme Court of Newfoundland and Labrador Court of Appeal. And so Labrador, Newfoundland, it's a curious area because they were their own country until they spent a lot of money in World War I, and then followed by the Great Depression, they had no more money, and Canada basically took them in as a province together. And so Canada does have jurisdiction. Their Supreme Court, which is the closest one, is in shoot, actually I think I have it right here. Yeah, let's see, the closest one is right here. It's in Ontario. It's just like, here's Quebec, there's Montreal, there's me, Wilder. And so he would have to travel. I'm not sure where Mr. Glasgow is exactly, but I mean, this is Labrador, technically, and this is Newfoundland, technically. St. John isn't even on this map. It's way, way off, even further east. But even if he lived here, you could see how far he'd have to travel to the nearest Supreme Court of Canada. But there is the Supreme Court of Newfoundland and Labrador in St. John. So if we just, boom, Control C, went here, and then Googled it, Control V, boom. Take these away. Let's go down. Here's a map. There's a map we can look at. So there it is right here. way on the tip, there's St. John. And if we zoom out, okay. So if he lived in St. John and that didn't exist, he would have to travel. He might as well fly over to Ottawa, around Ottawa, where the Canadian Supreme Court is. But so I'm right here. Not a bad drive for me. It's almost the same distance as from there out it is to New York. Anyways, let's move on to the next question. Are you ready for your third question, Crystal?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Player 2, question 3. I realized how much you're actually doing. And that ties into my question of what direct action is.
Direct action.
So, what is that was Shane Downs with me on the Marchist Live this last Wednesday. What is the USBF's direct action campaign called? A, Not Your Right. B, Direct Action USBF. C, Action for Divorce. D, Fathers for Families. You can do it, Crystal. It's your right.
Action for divorce?
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right, let's see what Shane says.
Direct action at its core is basically fathers supporting families. Doesn't mean that only fathers can go out there, or we want to be there to support people that are coming out of the courthouse.
Right.
The USBF has been running this campaign since it started. It's called Not Your Right. Not so much to change what's going on in family law, but to inspire people to go out and take a stand in their own state, their own county, their own city. What happens when you do direct action is you start to see your community basically supporting you. That's the whole idea behind doing direct action. And then they see us out there, and we have this great big banner that says "Not Your Right," and all those things that we outlined on the bottom. They come up to us. It's very low cost for you. I mean, every direct action team member has to have a T-shirt. So you purchase a T-shirt online. We provide banners. We provide informational leaflets to hand out. I mean, we provide all that stuff for you, and you just have to make the commitment that you're going to follow through with it.
So the name of the campaign is Not Your Right, and they have this list of 4. Not your right to prevent my access to our kids, not your right to make false allegations of abuse, not your right to restrict my financial freedom, and not your right to profit from my broken family. So no, I'm sorry, Crystal, that was incorrect. It is in fact not your right. But let's move on to the tiebreaker question so everybody can see it. Again, thank you, Shane, for being on the show. Everybody knows I'm a big supporter of what he does. It's really, really great. And as he said, if you want to start a Not Your Right campaign, they provide everything for you, minus the shirt. All you have to do is purchase a shirt to show your commitment. They supply you with a big USBF Not Your Right banner, all these cards, flyers, signs. So all you have to do is go to your local courthouse or a courthouse of your choosing, maybe the Capitol like he does. He travels 30 minutes to go to Sacramento. I would probably travel an hour to go to Concord. And I want to talk to people like Mr. Gill and Greg Fedor about that group, New Hampshire State of Corruption, about maybe joining this action committee called Not Your Right. Thank you again, Mr. Downs. So let's move on to the tiebreaker question. I think this is Kirk Pendergrass again. Let's take a look.
Can you share with our listeners again about the process that you went through on the website?
CPS by far is the easiest one to get a complaint online. There's actually an online form on the you go to the website, go to their complaint form 7 days after I filed it. Once you get a letter from the telling you whatever, even if it's from the mail clerk, that gives you the authority to go after an agency. Very simple and easy to do. But in order to proceed in a federal setting, you do need to have a letter.
They will pick up your case, okay, when they decide to make an investigation. But they keep coming back with, well, we just don't quite have enough complaints yet to initiate an investigation.
And they told me that. They said, unless you get more people, we don't know what's going on. People can make, can say what they want. But unless they file complaints and they get information about it, they don't know what to do. They can't go by it.
It's a good point. And that lady's name is also Crystal. I think I spelled her name wrong. But a different Crystal, not you, Crystal. So who are Crystal and Kirk talking about? A, USBF, B, FERPA, C, DOJ, or D, ACDC. While you're thinking about that, Crystal, we do have a caller. Let me bring this caller in. 5497. Hello, 5497. You are on Wheel of Judiciary. Who are we speaking with, please? All right. Well, you can just listen. It's cool. So, Crystal, who are...
Mr. Ted Fogg.
Oh, Brian.
Brian Kinter, yes.
How are you? You're a little bit late in calling.
I'm blessed.
We're just finishing up the show. I'm giving this last question to Crystal. If you want to hold on just for a second, we'll get her answer and then let's talk for a minute. So, Crystal, who are Crystal and Kirk talking about? The USBF, FERPA, the DOJ, or ACDC?
A hint. It starts with a D.
There you go. All right, we need your answer, Crystal. Your answer. Your answer, Crystal. It does start.
It's D.
ACDC?
Yeah.
They play some good music, but it is the DOJ, the Department of Justice. Let's go to the video answer.
Can you share with our listeners again about the process that you went through on the Department of Justice website?
CPS by far is the easiest one to get a complaint online. There's actually an online form on the DOJ. If you go to the DOJ's website, go to their complaint form 7 days after I filed it. Once you get a letter from the DOJ telling you whatever, even if it's from the mail clerk, that gives you the authority to go after an agency. Very simple and easy to do. But in order to proceed in a federal setting, you do need to have a DOJ letter.
They will pick up your case, okay, when they decide to make an investigation. But they keep coming back with, well, we just don't quite have enough complaints yet to initiate an investigation.
And they told me that. They said, unless you get more people, we don't know what's going on. People can make, can say what they want. But unless they file complaints and they get information about it, they don't know what to do. They can't go by it.
So, if you remember that show, I was frantically searching for this form right here. And if you want it, you can ask me for it. I'll give it to you if you can't find it. But there is the web address right there. Or you can simply go to justice.gov and in the search write in Civil Rights Complaint Form. And I believe you could do it right online and maybe you don't have to mail it in. I'm not sure. I think maybe you do. So it's super easy. It took Crystal, she said, like 10 minutes to put this together. And And then 7 days later, she got a response. Oh, crap. Keep doing that. And so what this doesn't mean that you have to file a federal lawsuit against anybody, but what this does is it gives the DOJ a record of all of us who have had problems with family court or CPS. And right now they're saying they're not going to do an investigation because they don't have enough complaints. You know, they can't go by one or two people saying, oh, you know, they're corrupt. So this is another thing I'd like for everybody to do, and I'm going to try and get you guys every week. I'm going to share this again in an attempt to get as many complaints to the Department of Justice as we can. So, Crystal, thank you so much for calling in and playing. I really appreciate you always being there. Thank you so much.
Before you do, I have a question.
Sure.
That poll that you put up, I cannot choose a answer because it told me that I haven't joined the group yet.
Oh, okay. You're not in the Marchist group yet. It is a public group, so you'd be able to see it. So I'll just go in and make sure that you're joined. I'll send you an invitation, or if you ask to join, I'll go back in and I'll make sure you're joined.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to do it so I can choose one of the things, because I was like I want to do it, and I'm like and also have you got a answer back from the people that you were gonna contact about me being a guest?
Right, that I'm still searching on Blog Talk for what is wrong with my microphone. Keeps making this humming sound. So Crystal has a condition. What is the condition called again? I have to search it up. I have to look it up. And but what it is, it's water on the brain. So she's perfectly normal, except certain functions aren't there, like muscles and stuff like that. So she wants to find somebody who talks about this condition on a public basis. So I've been looking on Blog Talk for people who specifically talk about this condition, or people who talk about health conditions and what they can do. So if any of you out there knows of, or if you listen to a Blog Talk or any radio station or TV show that talks about this condition, I'll have the name of that up there. You know what? Let me look real quick. Let me look. Oh, crap. Let me go to the Facebook and look at the messages, because maybe you already wrote. I'll have to look it up. Look up the name of it, and I'll keep asking people to help me help you.
Because I'm trying to remember. I wrote Kim Justice a message on there's a message thing in the Facebook thing where you can personally message the host, and I me and Kim I talked to her one night, and she said that she does not. She's booked through through, I think October or November or December like that. And she told me right now I cannot be a guest because she's booked.
She's booked. Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll keep.
I'm like,
I guess just see what, if you can get on her schedule, and I'll keep looking too. And as soon as I find somebody, then obviously I'll let you know immediately. But thank you so much for calling, Crystal.
Just message me on Facebook.
I will.
And let me know in private because I'm really like trying to do that privately so nobody says why did you do this?
Right.
Because I honestly don't want anybody to get in trouble on my behalf that I did something wrong.
I understand. I'll keep looking for you, Crystal,
Okay.
and don't forget to send me your address so I can send you a shirt. Okay?
Okay, what I can do is after you end the show, we can talk on Facebook, and I can give you my address over the phone.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, well let me let me get to Brian Kinter. He's been waiting. Thank you again, Crystal.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Brian, are you still there? Sorry to keep you waiting. Hopefully, with the new time of the show, people will start catching it more on a regular basis, and we'll get some callers to call in to play. But there is a poll. If you're a member of the Marchist group, the Facebook group, the page, the Marchist page is connected to the group, so I believe you can find it either way. There's a poll in that group because it's Saturday. It's Saturday night. I know most people are doing stuff, and this show is really, as much as it's based, the reason why I do it is to help educate us about our common enemy, the judiciary. Whether you believe judges are 100% at fault, or if you think we should be working with judges and focusing more on legislators who put us and judges in this situation. Either way, we have a common enemy, that is the family court and CPS, and it needs to end. And the judiciary itself needs more direction by the American people, and ultimately that's where we're going, and that involves all legal reform movements, no matter what movement you're a part of. So going further in the future into this show, we'll be having guests from all areas of law enforcement, legal reform, law reform. And so anyways, the poll is asking, what time do you think would be good for the show? Already there's a couple that says earlier, back at 5, back when this used to be live at 5 promoting the Million Parent March. I bumped it up to 8, more or less for my convenience and for more viewers. But we certainly seem to have, not only my convenience, but the convenience of the guests. I mean, 5 p.m. is hard for anybody to do on the East Coast, but then that's freaking 2 p.m. on the West Coast. People are working. So, like Shane, for instance, asked me what time it was. If it was at 2 p.m. Pacific, he wouldn't have been able to do it. So that's another reason for the later show. This show
I'm, you know, there's no guest. I just need you guys to call. So what time is a good time for you to be able to watch and call in on a Saturday? Because like I said, it's a fun game. I mean, it's a game. It's a game show. It's a little bit, you know, hokey that way. But the information I reiterate on the show, instead of, you know, going through and watching the 2-hour shows, or in Kirk's case, 4-hour show. Whew, that was a long Monday. But it was good, because actually that question about kidnapping came up after the 2 hours. After the 2-hour mark. So that was good. And so, yeah. What time is a good time? Brian, are you still there? Brian Kinter.
Call in.
All right, Brian. Well, I think Brian is listening. I really appreciate you calling in and saying hi. I wish you could have played. That would have been really fun, but maybe next week. And then you can win Million Parrot. On the front is Million Parrot March, the original logo. And then on the back is the March Us Live. So we have a little bit of an overstock, not very much. Couldn't get very many, but I want to at least give these away. I don't need them all, and I hardly ever wear t-shirts anyways. So thank you everybody for watching Judiciary Live on Saturday night live. Maybe I should put some SNL stuff to see if I could get a lawsuit from them. You know, that's kind of like that's part of my goal, is to get awareness about this. Is, you know, who knows, maybe Wheel of Fortune will sue me, and then we'll be plastered all over the news in what we do. This logo, you know, Wheel of Judiciary, bankrupt, suicide, lose your mind, homeless, free PTSD, alienation, addiction, and the list goes on. But you wouldn't be able to see anymore. Maybe where that other bankrupt is, I could put one more there. But certainly bankrupt is a huge thing, because we know how much family court at least costs us, and that's everything. More than everything in most cases. And it shouldn't exist. Simple contract at the beginning of a marriage, or a contract that comes along with a child's birth certificate if you are unmarried, that protects the child's fundamental right to both parents from each parent who gets mad, but also protects the child from state incentives like Title 4E. You know, and so kidnapping, so you won't get a warrant from a judge to kidnap your child in any situation. I mean, if the child is in danger, sure. If it's just an allegation, an anonymous allegation too, that isn't grounds for getting a warrant to take your kids. I'm sorry. And unless that person is willing, like Jennifer Wynn said in a recent post, unless that person is willing to take the stand and say that they witnessed it, because what that person did is citizen's arrest, basically. And that person is supposed to be liable. It says it right there. If we go back to, where is it? Answer 1, player 2.
And if it involves kidnapping, you can seek the death penalty. Coming onto somebody's property, kicking in their door, taking their kids, that is kidnapping. You don't have a warrant. You know, that this case involves kidnapping.
Yeah, it has to be a felony. So in order to make an arrest without a warrant, it has to be a felony
or breach of the peace. So, and what it says right here, felonies. A person can arrest someone that they reasonably suspect of committing a felony, even if the felony didn't occur in the presence of the individual making the arrest. As long as a felony was actually committed and the individual making the arrest knew of the crime, a reasonable suspicion about the identity of the perpetrator will justify the arrest. The felony must have actually occurred before an individual can make a citizen's arrest. Even if a person reasonably believes that a felony has occurred, if the crime did not in fact happen, the person making the arrest could become civilly and criminally liable. So, if you are making a call accusing somebody of child abuse, that child abuse had to have happened. Otherwise, you are civilly and criminally liable. So the fact that people who are anonymously calling and these arrests are happening, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. It's illegal. Breach of the peace. This is the only misdemeanor in where you as a civilian could arrest somebody or call the authorities to have somebody arrested. In general, people can't use citizens' arrest for misdemeanors unless the misdemeanor involves a breach of the peace. Even in these circumstances, however, individuals can only make arrests when they have personally witnessed. Now, this is different than felonies. The person making an arrest must have witnessed the breach of peace, personally witnessed the criminal behavior, and the breach has just occurred, or there is a strong likelihood that the breach will continue. You have to be aware of those two differences. If it's a felony, somebody could say, hey, I saw a felony taking place. I saw this child abuse happen. That person could then make an arrest or call the authorities and say, I saw this. But the fact that in most cases this is just a pissed off individual who doesn't like their neighbor, oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to call the authorities and say they're abusing their kids. Get their kids taken away. Yeah, that person should be in jail. Along with the arresting officers, because they have to follow, they have certain requirements under the Constitution that they need to follow. Not so much if you're a citizen making the arrest, but you can still be liable, like it says. So thank you very much for watching Wheel of Judiciary. Judiciary live, Saturday night live. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful night. And I'll say goodnight with the theme music, yada, yada, yada. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. You would think so, chat. You would think so. But that's not the case. You can anonymously call and not have to show up in court if you accuse somebody of abusing their kids. I love you too, Brenda. And thank you for everything you do with the Far From Normal show. She is part of that group. She's a great asset there. What couldn't you hear, Crystal? Crystal Bussard, are you Kirk Pendergrass's Crystal? You'll have to PM me and let me know what you couldn't hear. That's alright, Brenda. You'll have to call in next week. Alright, guys, I'm out. Have a great weekend. We're gonna end this. It's going to end. Don't you worry. Hopefully sooner than later, but either way, they're going down.